Welcome back once again to the Imaginary Gallery. Tonight's discussion is dedicated to all of those of you who are survivors of narcissistic abuse and are still around to talk about it. The point of this video is to simply strip down the narcissist, because chances are, if you've had such an encounter, you still have a lot of questions, because you know they never give you the closure. They don't ever really admit that they're basically a rotten person. They just give excuse after excuse to make it seem like you're just imagining whatever the case is. So I'm here to just break down and strip them down nude to what they're really about. So maybe it would help just a little with your wondering, because you know you've tried on numerous occasions to bring up whatever information or whatever situation happened to gain an understanding, and found yourself empty-handed after the interaction was over. So here's the way it works. I'm going to break it down for you. These people are very simple creatures. At the bottom, underneath all the fancy lies and deceptions and distortions and whatever else, underneath there's a very simple game plan in place. And it's basically, the rules are to win at all costs, to get what they want at any cost. This means, or this includes, also always being right about things. And that applies to situations that, even when they're wrong, they still have to be right. And what that means is, for example, if you're arguing about something and you happen to know that Sophia is really a female, yet the narcissistic person is saying to you, oh no, Sophia is a man. Well, you happen to know Sophia is a woman, but for the sake of this interaction with this type of disordered person, their version of winning would be to have the last word and say, no, you're wrong, she's a man. Period. Even though it's wrong, but that's how it works. That means in their brain that's been twisted and fantasy world, they're right, they won that argument and they're gone. So it's twisted. But also they have to have power, they have to have control. And of course they will never go on a first date with you and say, I want to be in control of you, I want power over you. No, they're much more covert than that. Instead, they'll act like a perfect gentleman or a perfect lady and say all the right things. And when you do something or say something that others would think is annoying, they'll go right along with it to make it seem like they're the exception. Regular people would have been offended at that behavior, but they're not. They love it and they understand it. And they achieve their power and their control by usually in the beginning acting really naive and acting like they're just in love with you and they just can't help what they feel about you, and you should just let them be and accept them immediately and marry them today and so on. But they control you, which I've done a video on before. There are many types of control, but one of them is where they give you fictitious information designed to get a specific reaction from you. For example, if you just met this girl and you think she's a whore and you think she's out spreading her thighs every night at the strip club down the street for money, and she knows you feel that way, well, when you ask her, what'd you do last night? She'll say, oh, I went to church and said a few prayers and lit a candle and went to bed. Well, that's supposed to snuff out your fear that maybe she was out spreading her thighs, so that's to control you to think, well, maybe I'll give her another chance and see her again. Well, that's just an example of their control, when really every night of the week she's out there with her thighs spread open. But that's a crude example, but that's kind of the way it actually works with these people. The other thing is what they do when you're involved with one and you caught them in some kind of lie where your intuition, your gut feeling had told you something that they've done was not right to fit in with their fake persona. And if you address it and say, are you sure this is what happened yesterday? Are you sure you didn't do this instead of what you said you did? And there you're covering, or you're overstepping a line in regular people's lives, and they will just grab onto that and be like, I can't believe you would even doubt a word I said, even though it turns out the truth is something horrible that you don't even want to know about. But when you deal with that, eventually you'll catch them, because they can't keep this up forever. So you catch them in their bad behavior, and they have a rule system they follow. It goes like this. Again, I've seen it so many times. You uncover that last night they did not go to church, but in fact, they were spreading their thighs out at the Shady Lady on a pole for money, and you're like, you figured it out somehow. Let's say you have a friend who works there who showed you the video or something. Well, when you confront this person, when they're caught, their first step is what? Number one, denial. I was not there last night, I told you. I was in church lighting candles. Well, when you present the evidence to show that that is just simply not the case, then it goes to number two, which is, okay, fine, yes, I did go to the Shady Lady and spread my thighs, but only once. It's the only time, and I did it because you had said blah, 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 retarded excuse, and I did that because you blah, 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 whatever retarded excuse, and it's just to you surreal. You're like, oh my goodness. She wanted me to believe she was at church, and now she's admitting she was there, and this is, that's the way these people operate. It's disgusting. But the third step here is, how dare you spy on me and look at those video cameras of me doing that with my thighs spread open. You weren't supposed to see that. So they actually act as if, and this pulls in the entitlement, they believe that they should be entitled to do whatever they want, whether it goes along with the persona they've given you or not, and you are not supposed to dare even look at it. So basically they punish you for daring to uncover their ridiculous lie. Wow, this is amazing. These are great people. So, one last tidbit on this subject would be how it's very interesting and chilling to understand that these narcissistic creatures, if they find somebody who's like not really ready for any type of quick fix relationship, they will give the illusion to the target that the target has all the control, which I've experienced this a few times, especially after dealing with horror. Well, after dealing with that, it's like to the new people say, I'm not doing that again. But these people will actually present an illusion that you are in control of everything, which is part of their game. So you've been hurt by your ex-spouse for 20 years. You met someone new, you were hurt from them. So as a result, when the new one steps around, oh, hi, I'm the one for you, you're like, sorry, but that's not for me. They are going to give you the power, which, again, is all part of their game, because as we've learned about narcissistic interactions, the way it normally works is you move into the situation, you do whatever you do, and then by the time you realize a game is being played, you're already losing. And that's how it works. But yes, they will often give you the perception that you control everything, yet you have no idea that behind the scenes they've orchestrated an entire fake past, an entire fake belief system mirrored off yours. And it's nice to finally be able to realize all this, and hopefully that will help. But peace!